it's Betsy, and today we have a fun video. We are finally getting around to trying out the Rebel quads from Juvia's place. Now, I ordered these on release date. They are $10 each, and there are 4 different color story. You have the grays, the mints, the greens, and honey. Now, I'm gonna work with the greens today because I wanna try to do a reverse cat eye. And I'm gonna either do a look with each quad or I may combine a couple of quads. I'm not sure yet, but we're gonna start with this one. So let's go ahead and swatch it, and I will try to remember to actually timestamp this video so it's not too long. But y'all know I love some green eyeshadow, and Juvia's place has some amazing shadow. So that is the swatches for the green quad. Woohoo! So let's wipe off the back of my hand. And I did pull out my Nomad palette by Juvia's place because with this green quad, there's not really any light shades, and I kind of need a light shade to set the top of my eye and drop the brush, because I want to do a reverse cat eye, so it's a little bit different. So we're gonna first go into this lightest shade right here from the Nomad palette. Now, I've never done a reverse cat eye, but I think it's super cool. I saw it on TikTok and I was like, I want to attempt that. Now, will it work? Who knows? But we're gonna try. Now, I did prime my eyes with the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot. I haven't used that in forever. It's still good quality though. Like, I forgot how good it was. Do y'all do that where it's like, oh, that's actually better than I thought it was, kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, it still works. And I've had that for years. And it's not as dry as the e.l.f. Putty Primer. So as you can see, I'm just applying a good, solid, easy little coat of the lightest shadow all over the top of my lids, making sure it's all blended out, nothing creasy, anything like that. So that looks good. Now I'm going to grab, I need a little brush, a littler brush. Might need that one out for the bottoms. Let's see. This is a Zoeva, I didn't tell you the first one, 231. The first brush I used, I think, was a Zoeva 2. Where did it go? Yes, it was the Zoeva 228 crease brush. And I'm just gonna slightly go in this little pukey brownie green color and use that just to deepen up the upper crease just slightly, because this really isn't about the upper eyelid, it's about the lower. And I'm kind of excited because I haven't done anything like this, and you know, that's the fun of makeup. And if I mess up, guess what? Take it off, start over. That's how I always look at it. But it also is a good way to work on your skills, because I always do the same looks over and over and over. I mean, I will be the first to admit it, that is my MO. Okay. That looks pretty. Very much in the crease, and it's not like over dramatic, I guess, best way to say it. So, okay, we like that. Let's go ahead and double check those edges to make sure they're blended well. Where's my Zoeva brush? There's my, that's not the Zoeva brush I used. This is the Zoeva brush I used. But yeah, I figured this would be fun. You know, sometimes it's fun to mix it up and play around and kind of go from there. Okay, so I've got my Tom Ford Metallic Moss Eye Pencil. So I'm just going to use that to line the waterline. And I am going to do the upper if I can. I've talked about this before, but maybe y'all don't know. Like, part of the reason why I don't do much top liner is I am blind in my right eye. Legally blind. So for me to apply liner, it is extremely difficult. That's part of the reason why I use eye tapes too. So I'm just applying that to the upper and lower waterline. Making my eyes water. It's okay though. Okay. And I want to make sure it's good in the inner corner too, because like this look definitely it reminds me of like old school Egyptian makeup, like the Eye of Ra, which is an image that is very popular for Mama Pat to use as well. So there's the liner on. That did okay. So now I'm going to take and go into the Army Quad from the Rebels, and I am going to take, I need a angled brush. I have a bajillion angled brushes, so let's see if we can find one that I want to use. Okay, so here's one, the Spectrum A17. This is from the Spectrum Hello Kitty collection, and I'm just going to take that and slightly, see how I'm just using that to line the top of my eyes with the shadow, because that kind of gives it a little bit more blend in my opinion. Because I do want it to have that grungy feel, but I don't want it too heavy either. And then kind of bring it down. So you can kind of see the difference already. So again, just doing it little by little is what works for me. Not applying too much shadow at one time. And again, this is also not easy because my eyes are getting older. I have wrinkles on my lids, and you know, this doesn't always pan out the way that people want whenever they have wrinkles. Okay, so we like how that looks. Okay, now I'm going to take just I need a small clean blendy brush, something like this, and I'm just using that ever so slightly on the top. See how that just kind of softens it all up? Okay, now we're cooking with gas. Now I'm gonna grab my e.l.f. eye tapes because I think this will help me. So I am going to do this a little bit different than I normally do. If I can do this, I'm going to take and kind of go over the top. See how I'm kind of angling it upper instead of going lower? This looks crazy, doesn't it? Looks like I've got my eyelids smushed down, which I kind of do. So, and this will help, kind of help keep our line sharper on the top. Okay, so we got that. Now I'm going to take that same brush from Spectrum and kind of map out. See how I'm using that e.l.f. to map out my lower lash line. Okay, not bad, not bad. So now I need a little tiny blendy brush. This is the Manny MUA. This is from Lunar Beauty, the LB6. As you can see, it's like the smallest little pencil brush. And now I'm just going to use that to smoke out the lower lash line. Now, I don't care if this is perfect because I can do quite a bit of cleanup with a makeup wipe, and that's why I always do my eyes first, especially if I'm experimenting, because yeah, you never know. Okay. Not the worst that I can tell. It's kind of hard. But we're trying something different. Looks crazy. Okay, now I need another little blendy brush, something like this. So this is a Cleona brush. It doesn't have a number. So we're gonna go into that brighter green. And as you can see, I don't have a whole lot on my brush. And I'm just using that to smoke out that lower lash line. And as you can see, that's kind of bumped, like it's not the smoothest up top, but it will be once I am finished. Or at least that's the plan. Okay, so I'm liking how that goes. I need that angled brush again. Okay, we're gonna go into that deeper shade. And you see how I'm just using that in the front portion? Right there. Blend it out just a little bit. Okay. There is that. Okay, you see how that, yes. Okay, you see how that kind of gave it that shape that I was looking for? I'm gonna use that Zoeva brush that has the tan from the top on it and just start blending that edge. There we go. See how good that looks? And don't worry if that line looks a little harsh right now. I think it will look better once I get foundation on. Okay. What do you think? Okay, so now I'm gonna go off camera, gonna do the rest of my face. We'll come back and do the lower lash line. So I'm back and I have the rest of my face on. I used the Pat McGrath. This is the Divine Nude liquid lipstick. I also used the Kiko Milano Fruit Explosion Juicy Lip Oil as my lip combo. Then I used the Makeup by Mario Medium Dark Bronzer, the Makeup by Mario Wild Berry Blush, and then for highlight is the Huda Beauty Helios highlight. It's so pretty. So let's go ahead and do something fun in the inner corner, and I'm gonna use this brighter green, and then I have a little Refer 23, and I already went through and told y'all what I used for my eyeliner, because this is different for me. Again, this isn't the normal way I do looks, but I do really like how it looks. I mean, I think it looks really, really good on. I mean, it's not perfect by any means, but I do love it. Love it, love it. And see how I'm just really keeping that really tight, because I want to keep that more cat eye shape. So there we go. Take my blendy brush, kind of go over my edges just to make sure everything is nice and smooth. And this is the final look using the Army Quad. I love it. So we'll come back tomorrow and do another look with a different one of the quads. So we're back to work with the Rebel quads, and this is the gray one. So I picked this one up. This is what she looks like. Again, these retail for $10. We'll go ahead and swatch her. So the first one is, it's almost like a silver satin shade. I wouldn't say that's really metallic, but it is like a silver satin shade. Then we have more of a silver actual metallic. Then we have a darker silver metallic. Those are all very close, aren't they? Okay, so I wish that I can already tell you one thing about this quad, and then there's like an asphalt gray matte. So looking at this, I can already say I wish that there was a little bit more, what's the best way to put it? Difference between these shades, because like I have these swatched out. I pulled out my ColourPop. This is the Smoke Show, or Blow and Smoke, I think is what it's called now, because when I looked at this, I was like, okay, I'm gonna need a couple more grays to go with this. So I pulled out this, and I also, it was supposed to be here today, but it's not, the Natasha Denona Mini Xenon palette, and it's a 5-pan, and I just feel like they could have done a little bit more variation, because if you actually look, these two are, the top one and this one are very, very close. It's just this one's more metallic. It's like you don't need both. Best way to say it. So I don't know if this will be my favorite one of the quads, but we're gonna still test it out, you know. That's part of the fun of these. So we're gonna do another monochromatic look. So let's kind of go in. I'm gonna grab, this is a BK Beauty 201. I'm gonna try this silvery satiny shade. We're gonna try that. It's like my transition. I did prime my eyes with the MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre, because that's the primer I'm working on right now, and it has some pigment to it. Okay, so that's not going on bad. I would consider using that more as a matte than as a shimmer though. I mean, I just feel like that's kind of the best way that that would work, especially for me. So I'm just kind of blending this all over my upper eyelid. And this is funny because this says definitely 2000s makeup. I loved gray and black eyeshadow back when I was more into my hardcore gothy phase. Not really gothy phase, because like I've always been, like I wore a lot of stuff from Hot Topic, but I'm always gonna be the pink girl, you know? So it's like, I've always had a style that's kind of all over the place, but I would definitely wear an eyeshadow like this. And it's kind of weird to see it because I don't wear cool tones very often. Well, not really cool tones. I wear cool tones. I don't wear grays. Gray is just not the color I typically go for. For eyeshadow, you know, for clothing, well, I wear more gray shirts. Typically they have writing or something like that on them. Okay, so that looks good. We're getting somewhere. I think the main reason why now, after seeing this, that I need the other palette that I pulled out is for the black, because I like to have a little bit more depth. So there is some kick up, and now we're gonna go into that asphalty gray. And this is a BK Beauty 205. And we're gonna keep that right in that outer portion. So you can see that color builds. It's a nice, pretty gray color. It's nothing revolutionary, at least not by my standards. You know, like the green quad had me much more excited, but I am that way where it's like, oh, I'm ordering the others. I need this one too. That's what I do. Okay, so when I was putting on that darker gray, see, I got some fallout or some flinging over on the inner portion of my eye. Okay, so you can see that is blending out like a dream. Juvia's Place makes excellent, excellent shadows. Excellent shadows. Okay, so I need to do a smaller brush. So I'm gonna grab this. This is a Spectrum B11. And I'm gonna go into the ColourPop Smoke Show, and I'm gonna go into Slated, which is the black that's in there. But I am excited for the mini Xenon because I've been wanting to try Natasha Denona's Black is Black. I've heard great things about it, but I didn't want to pay $26 for an eyeshadow, and you can buy the mini Xenon for $25. And it's a great way to try it. Because if I don't love it, you know what I'm saying? And the silver that is in the mini Xenon looks really stinking pretty too. Okay, now we've got some depth. Okay, give me a second. I forgot to grab my glitter glue. So let's put on the glitter glue. This is the NYX glitter glue. It's a great glitter glue, and it's inexpensive. But there are a lot of glitter glues that I like, and I always, always, always use a glitter glue. Now I know for some people they don't, but I always do with the shimmer. For me, it helps with longevity because it's not like I have oily eyelids or anything like that, but I live in the South. I live in Southeast Texas. It is 9,000 degrees. It's hotter than Hades outside. So with that being said, I sweat. So I need something to keep me from sweating. So now we're gonna go into the darker of the two shimmers, and I'm going to apply that towards, well, no, we're gonna apply that all over the lid. I'll save the other one for the inner corner. Okay, that's not bad. I do wish it was a little bit more, just more, does that make sense? Y'all know what I mean. Like, I love a good wet looking or really sparkly looking shimmer, and maybe it's because I'm getting spoiled to all the ones that I've gotten lately from different brands, but now when I go back through other ones, I'm like, oh, that's a little lackluster, isn't it? At least it is for me. Okay, so I like how that looks. So I'm gonna take my BK Beauty 201 and go over the top edge to make sure everything's smooth. I'm gonna take, where's that little brush that I used? I put up my brush. I do that sometimes where I'm like, oh, I don't need that brush anymore. And then I'm like, wait, yeah, I actually do need that brush. So I gotta find my brush. I'll just grab a new one. Because I have way too many brushes, but I want more. I always want more brushes. Like, I don't want to have to clean my brushes all the time. I don't know how y'all are, but I'm like, I want to have brushes available so that way I don't have to constantly sit there and clean them because it's annoying. At least it is to me. So this is a BK Beauty 203. So it's pretty much the same brush. We're gonna go back in with this darker asphalt color. Bring that in. We are gonna add a little bit more black too. But yeah, I want as many brushes as possible so that way I don't have to wash brushes all the time. Brushes, because I do so many different eye looks and stuff like that, I go through a crazy amount of brushes. So now we're gonna go back into Smoke Show and we're gonna go into Slated, which is that black. And we're going to apply that just on the outer corner to make sure that gray color is all blended in. Okay. I like how this looks so far. I'm gonna go off camera, do the rest of my face. We'll come back and do the lower lash line. Okay, so I'm back and I have the rest of my face on. I used the Dose of Colors Donald and Daisy liquid lip. I love that liquid lip, like I wanna try more from them. I also used the Mama Pat, the Pat McGrath Extreme Black. What are these? These are the Permagel Ultra Glide Eye Pencil. And then for highlight, I used Gold Ore from Melt, the CXC Beauty bronzer in N2, and then blush, I used Wildberry by Makeup by Mario. Okay, So let's do the under eye portion, but look how, like, I should wear grays more often. Like, I was like, this looks good. So I'm gonna take, this is the 203, and I'm just slightly dipping into that asphalt gray color. And I'm going to smooth that under the eye. Nothing major. This part of the eye look isn't crazy and it's not gonna take long. Oh, I bumped and moved my lash. That happens from time to time. And I'm still getting used to that Kiss lash glue that you use as a liner. I don't know. I don't mind the lashes, but I'm not sure if I love the lash glue. Like, I don't know if it applies enough of it. So that's where I'm at with it. So now I need something to apply my inner corner. So I'm gonna grab, this is a BK Beauty 204. We're gonna go into that lighter sterling silver shade. And we're gonna use that in the inner corner. Oh, that's nice and bright. And I'm just going to bring that up a little on the top of the eye, and then I'm going to bring it down beneath the eye too. Okay, that looks good. Other than this side has a little bit, quite a bit too much. So I'm gonna take that BK Beauty, the one that just had the regular gray on it, and blend over the edges. But there we go. Okay, this is the look with the gray quad. We'll be back and show you another quad tomorrow. We're back to work with another one of the Rebel quads by Juvia's Place. Today we're gonna work with the mints. So as you can see, there are two pastel shades. One is more minty green, one is more minty blue and matte, and then we have more of a minty green in a shimmer and more of a minty blue in a shimmer. So we're gonna start off by swatching these so we can see what they look like. The shimmers are really pretty. And the mattes aren't bad either. So that's what we're working with. And I also went ahead and pulled out my Juvia's Place Wahala 2 palette because it has some deeper teals in this palette that I think will work well with this. Because I do feel like with these Rebel quads, at least the ones I've used so far, I think that they're beautiful. I do think that they are lacking a little something, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna grab, this is a BK Beauty 202 brush, or 201? 201. So it's just a big blendy brush, and we're gonna go in first with the lightest, the minty green shade, and we're going to use that all in the upper eyelid above the crease. Now, I'm not using e.l.f. eye tape today because I am out, so I'm just gonna clean, because my order got lost. I've had that kind of luck lately. Like, I have so many orders right now that are not anywhere where they're supposed to be. It's not even funny, but you know, it is what it is. So, I'm just using that all over the eyelid, kind of like a base, because pastels, certain shades in pastels I can work with. Now, whenever you're talking about doing nothing but pastels with no depth, at least on me, I don't feel like they look the best. Pastels, when you are, to me, a little bit deeper than anything above a light, pastels don't always work. And on me, they're definitely not my favorites. But I saw this and I was like, that's cute. We'll try it out and see how it goes. Because Juvia's Place is a Black-owned brand, and they do well for pigmentation for deeper complexions, I guess is the best way to put it. Okay, so next up, I'm gonna grab, this is a BK Beauty 206, and I'm gonna go into the minty blue to add a little bit of depth. See how that adds some depth? That is a pretty minty blue. And these colors are beautiful, by the way. It's just, I do need a little bit more depth than what this quad is offering, at least in my personal opinion. I would never go this pale without anything else. I feel like it kind of washes out my complexion. But this would also work beautifully, at least in my opinion, with the green quad. I just have been wanting to kind of play with them on their own, because in case you buy them and then add in what you can mix. So I'm gonna go in, this is a Nabla N205, and I'm gonna go into this shade right here, which is called Jealous, which is a deeper teal. Not a pretty color. But see how well that goes with that mint shade, those mints? And it does give that depth that I felt was missing. But I have a bajillion palettes, you know. To me, a quad is great to kind of fill in, like if you have holes in your complexion. Now this palette from Juvia's Place, the Walhalla 2, is gorgeous, and like the shade Money right there and Fake right here are absolutely stunning. Great quality eyeshadow. But that is a tad bit bigger than what I tend to prefer for eyeshadow palettes. Okay, so loving how this is looking. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the NYX glitter glue. Voila. Add a little bit to the top of my eye. Now I got to grab a flat brush because I have a bajillion. I don't know about y'all, but I have so many brushes. I need to make sure, like, I forget to clean them sometimes. This has red all in it. When did I use red? Oh, I bet you this is from when I did ColourPop. These darker bristles, you gotta make sure you clean. But I probably wouldn't have noticed anyway. So I'm just taking that Nabla, this is the N205, right? Nope, I don't know what this is. What are you? N103, right? Yeah. And patting out my glitter glue, and I'm gonna do the same thing on the other eye. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna go into the darker mint shimmer, and we're gonna apply that all over the lid. I do think that this is pretty. I don't know. I wish that Juvia's Place did some more of the shimmers like that were in the Walhalla palette. I love Fake and I love Money, but you know, Juvia's Place doesn't always have the most shimmery shimmers. I mean, see, that does look pretty on. It's just, it's not always enough. There we go. And pat that all out. Okay, so this is the tops of the eyes done. I'm gonna go off camera and do the rest of my face. We'll come back and do the lower lash line. So I'm back and I have the rest of my face on. I used the Too Faced lip injection lip balm that's supposed to be plumping. I used the ColourPop Zulu eyeliner in my waterline. Highlight, I used the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude Glow. Blush, I did the Pat McGrath Labs in Flirtatious. And then for bronzer, I used the CXC Beauty in 2. So I think everything all in all looks pretty good. Now let's go ahead and finish up our eyes. So I'm gonna take that tiny little brush that I had, the Nabla N205, that had the shade Jealous on it, and I am gonna take that shade Jealous and put it all under my eye. Because one, I don't have anything lighter under there, and I just think that that's going to look the best. Yeah, that's gonna be the best. Nothing major. I mean, seriously, it's pretty easy to do. Okie dokie. Now I need to do my inner corner. And we're gonna go back to the actual quad that we are reviewing today. And I'm gonna grab, this is a BK Beauty 204, and I'm gonna go into that first minty silvery shade and apply that in my inner corner. That's a beautiful color. And it's such a unique color too. Like, you see how bright that makes that inner corner? Okay. There we go. What do you think? Okay, this is completed look number 2. Or 3, and I will be back tomorrow to work with the honey. We're back to work with the last of the Juvia's Place Rebel quads, and this one is the honey one. Now, this is the one that I definitely feel like you can do a complete look with. So we're gonna start with swatching it. There's like this mustardy tone, then we have this beautiful bronzy shade, the rusty brown, and more of like an orangey shade. So that is what we're looking at. I think it's very pretty. It's just gonna be a very pretty warm tone look. And as I said, I think this one is the only palette out of the bunch that I would consider to be like if you look at the rest of these, I feel like that one's kind of like, these two could kind of go together. I feel like this is about the only one that is a complete look palette. So I'm gonna grab this. This is the BK Beauty 201. I did prime my eyes with the Soft Ochre Paint Pot by MAC. Now I am out of e.l.f. eye tape. They keep telling me it's gonna be here, but it ain't here, so we'll see. So I'm going in, I didn't even tell you, with that lightest mustardy kind of shade. I do like the colors in this. I feel like this is a very unique kind of quad. So, I mean, this is going to give you much more neutral as far as looks go. Like, because to me, mustardy yellows and oranges and stuff like that are just warm tone neutrals. On a lot of people, it's not like when you're wearing an orange eye, depending on what tones you use, it doesn't look crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, orange is one of those colors that a lot of people can pull off as a neutral, depending on the undertone. So there we go. Nothing crazy. Okay. My nose is kind of not being my friend today. So let's blend a little bit more. But yeah, allergy season is full on upon us. That is the one thing about this time of year that I don't like. Okay, so there's the first color down. Now I'm gonna grab, this is a Noblet in 304, and I'm gonna go into this darker orangier tone, and we're going to apply that, but we're gonna keep that in the crease. See, that kind of gives us much more depth. I always like more depth. That is my thing. Like, I've said this 100 times. Pastels like aren't my favorite. Sometimes I can work with them, especially if I mix in other palettes to have some depth. But yeah, like, to me, a look is not complete without something that has some darkness to it. Okay, that looks really good, doesn't it, y'all? Okay, going back over with my 201 just to make sure everything is blended together. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Okay, now I'm gonna take, this is a Noblet in 205, so it's just a teeny little blending brush, and I'm gonna go into that darkest shade right there. Oh yeah, see how that adds a great amount of depth. as I said, this is like what completes a look for me. You can kind of see what I mean. Like if you look at this, there we go. If you look at this, see how much better, or to me, how much that looks better. Because not everybody likes the kind of depth that I do. And I get that. But I like a good grungy color story. Aren't these seahorse earrings the cutest? I bought these at Target. This is that Sugar Fix by Bubble Bar line. Okay, now I'm just gonna take and go back over and smooth over my edges. Everything's looking so good. Now I know that it looks a little crazy the way it is right now, but people who watch me know this isn't unusual for it to look a little crazy at this point, because I do take and add some glitter glue. We're gonna add, this is the NYX glitter glue, and then we're gonna add some shimmer. And once you get the rest of the makeup on, it looks so much better. It's just, it always looks crazy in the beginning. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in with, there we go, and blend it out. This is the shimmer, the one shimmer, that bronzy copper shimmer. I like this shimmer. This one is much more metallic, I feel like, than the ones from the rest of the quads. So I like how this is going. But sometimes Juvia's Place doesn't always, not sometimes, a lot of times, Juvia's Place doesn't always have my favorite shimmers. I think that's part of the reason why when they do a pressed glitter, it doesn't bother me, because I'm like, ooh, sparkles. I love sparkles. And you can see that this is a pretty shimmer. It's just, what I'm saying about it is it does lack that sparkle, that wow factor, in my opinion. Because I like the sparkle, that wow factor. Okay, now I'm just taking that Noblet in 205 and going over the edges, make sure everything's nice and smooth. Gonna go back into that deepest color and blend over the edges. There we go. Okay, so here's the top of the eyes done. I am gonna go off camera, do the rest of my face, then we'll come back and talk about my thoughts on these quads. So I'm back and I have the rest of my face on. I used the Propa Beauty Made It lipstick, so see it's like that orangey tone. I also used the Refined Radiance Bronzer by CXC Beauty in N2. I have been using, I love this bronzer. It is a great bronzer. For blush, I used Desert Orchid by Mama Pat. Such a beautiful neutral tone blush. I love that blush. And then for highlight, I used Royal Icing, so by Fenty Beauty. Now, let's go ahead and apply some shadow underneath our eyes. So I'm gonna take that tiny little brush, the N205 by Nabla, and apply that darkest shade under the outer portion of my eyes. And then I'm gonna take the Nabla N304 with that medium mustard shade and apply that to the front, and then just blend it all together. Now, I don't feel like this palette, definitely, I feel like it doesn't have an inner corner highlight. So I'm gonna just take my highlighter that I used, the Royal Icing by Fenty Beauty. This is a 204 brush by BK Beauty, and we're going to apply that. See how pretty that looks in the inner corner? And we can talk about our thoughts on these palettes. These quads. So, there are 4 of them. Okay, let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. The honey I definitely feel like is the most complete. Like, I feel like you can get a whole look out of this. I'm not sure, you know, this is definitely one I didn't need because I do have these tones a bajillion times over in my makeup collection. But again, 10 bucks, and you can use a coupon code, just to kind of let you know. Now, the mints, I feel like this one's probably one of the more unique ones, but I don't know if, like, I don't think it does a complete look, but I do really like the colors that are in here. My favorite is the greens, because y'all know I just adore green eyeshadow, and this is stunning. This is gorgeous on. And then we've got the grays. Again, I don't feel like it does a complete look. Like, I feel like ColourPop, when they've done some quads in the past, they've done a better job of making sure you can do a complete look with them. And I feel like these are kind of lacking a little bit in that. I do think that they're great quality. They did exactly what they're supposed to, so I can't complain about that. But if you are looking for like a complete quad to do your eyes with, I don't think any of these really work except for the honey one for that. And that tells me that we are lacking a little bit, at least in my personal opinion. But other than that, I mean, they're great quality. Juvia's Place does make an amazing, amazing eyeshadow formula. Like, I dig Juvia's Place. But I just wish the tones were a little bit more in here. Does that make sense? Like, they could have gotten rid of like this and made it a complete matte gray. And these two are just way too close. These two, this one's more blue, this one's more green, but again, they feel too close in tone. This is a good differentiation, but like, I feel like there needs to be just a little bit more depth in it. Again, this one feels complete, but again, these two tones are pretty darn close. And this is just gorgeous. I love everything about this. So if I were gonna recommend one, it'd be the green one because I just love green eyeshadow. But again, that's on you. But yeah, hopefully this video is helpful. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button right down below. And if you hit the notification bell icon next to it, that will notify you when I post new videos, which is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I also throw in a ton of bonus content throughout. But I guess that's it. So we'll see y'all later. Bye.